Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CCN News. My name is Paul Henderson and I'm going to talk about Obama's first blunder as a president, the riots in Belgium and the appointment of a controversial Secretary of Finance in Iceland. But first, the world-famous invention by Gearloose. After having spent more than 10 years in his lab, he has finally reached his goal, an invention which will change the world. Mr. Gearloose claims to have developed a machine which can, with minimal input, create huge amounts of power. Although there is no clear proof yet, scientists say that he might actually say the truth. If so, it will solve all of our energy problems. There has not been given any official response to this news article yet. As one of the first, our reporter, Aletta has managed to get in contact with Mr. Gearloose. Aletta!
Thank you, Paul. So I'm standing next to Mr. Gearloose. Welcome.
Thank you.
So tell me a bit about your invention.
Well, I think I got the idea about 20 years ago. However, quantum physics weren't really developed back then, so we didn't know a lot about orbitals or high rotation conditions or alinear bonds. So it was quite difficult to think of the entire machine.
Okay. So you practically spoiled the last 15 years of your investigation, or?
Oh no, definitely not. It's true that the most advance has been in the last 4 or 5 years. But well, I also needed the other 15 years for planning. I needed to get real ideas, make the schemes. And of course, experiments aren't cheap, so they were also crucial for getting the right funds so I could actually perform my experiments.
Okay, so I heard you believe that your invention will bring a big change in the world. Elaborate a bit more on that.
Yeah, sure. I think you might remember when we finally got the cloning techniques and the genetical manipulation, when we got them completely under control. Well, it had an enormous impact on the world, and the food crisis were almost over. So that they had an enormous impact. And I think with my invention, this impact will be almost twice as large, because after all, we'll be able to power the entire world with only a few of my machines.
Yes, but aren't you afraid that people might misuse your invention for their own good?
No, I can't imagine that, because they're very easy to use and they aren't bad for anyone. They're CO2 neutral, so the climate is we're only helping the climate, and they're very cheap to manufacture. So no, I can't imagine anyone misusing my invention for their own good.
Okay, thank you very much for your time. Yeah. And back to you, Paul.
Well, Aletta, that sounds very interesting. Let's hope Mr. Gearloose can fulfill his promise. But now, Barack Obama makes his first blunder in the White House. Our apologies for interrupting your movie, but this is an extra news flash from CCN News. Last night, terrorists have stolen the world-famous invention by Gearloose from Utrecht University. The invention is claimed to solve all of our energy problems, but can, however, wipe whole continents off the map when placed in wrong hands. How the terrorists broke into the highly secured facility is still unknown. The police has, however, released some security cam footage exclusively for CCN. If you recognize any of the persons in the video, contact your local police authorities immediately. Come here, come on! welcome back. We had just had an incoming message from the police and they say they found a tape. Well, in the following tape you can see the terrorists demanding $500 billion from the European Union.
This message is for all the inhabitants of the world. Yesterday we have stolen your powerful invention.
We demand that you deposit $500 billion to our iSafe account 666.
If you don't do this, we'll use your device against you and wipe Europe off the map.
Yeah!
Aletta has arranged a meeting with Mrs. E. Expert in London. Aletta.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. With us tonight, Mrs. E. Expert, expert on terrorist attacks focused on scientific inventions, and an ex-scientist herself. Welcome.
Thank you.
Well, I don't think we need to elaborate on what has happened, do we?
Oh no, that's pretty clear in this case. Once again there has been a great scientific advance. Only this time the scientists failed to keep it safe.
Yes, yes. As we have just seen in the video, the terrorists threaten to destroy a part of the world if the European doesn't meet their demands. What do you think?
Well, this of course is the way that the terrorist group acts. Terrorists steal a certain object and then ask money in return. Only this case is very special because instead of, thousands or $1 million, the terrorists asked $500 billion, and that's 700 times more than the last record, as we might call it.
Yes, yes, $500 billion.
Yeah.
That is an enormous amount of money. But don't you think it's a bit much? I mean, how should the European Union come up with such an amount of money? And moreover, what do the terrorists need it for?
Well, that's a very good question. At this moment, the European Union assumes that this group of terrorists is part of a larger network of terrorists, and they are from Iceland. And because this country suffered so much from the economical depression, people from Iceland have started a big network of terrorist groups, and they try to gain money for their country out of terroristic attacks.
Okay, thank you. We just received a message from a viewer who wonders what can or will the terrorists do if their demands aren't met?
Well, the thing that is so special about this invention is that it can generate huge amount of energy with minimal input. And with the right technology, people could release this energy and then destroy several countries at one time.
Wow.
Like you could destroy half of Europe with this invention.
Okay, well, thank you very much for sharing your ideas. And this was the interview. Back to you, Paul.
Well, thank you Aletta and Mrs. E. Expert, and thank you all for watching. For more information, check our website ccn.com/newsflash. Goodbye.